Hey y'all, welcome to the Second of Strength podcast. My name is Tanner Clark. I went from sitting at a desk to speaking on stage internationally to inspire teenagers and people like you. My goal is simple: help you find your 1 second of strength to walk away from the things that are holding you back, to step into your potential, and ultimately find happiness. Thank you for spending your valuable seconds with me today. Let's go. Welcome to this week's episode of the Second of Strength podcast. I'm your host, Tanner Clark. I'm excited to be with you today. Thank you for taking your valuable seconds and listening. I know there's a lot of places you can spend your time, and so I'm grateful that you're spending a few minutes with me today. But I'm grateful that you're here. I'm excited for school to start, and partly because kids get back into routine, partly because I can get back into routine of recording this podcast, but more importantly, back into routine of getting out to schools and speaking. So I would love to come and speak at your school, your teenagers, middle school, even elementary school, help your kids live their best life, be happier, walk away from the things that are hurting their heart. If you go to the website, it's in the show notes, but www.secondofstrength.com. There's a spot there you can connect with me about coming and speaking at your school. So take a minute and do that. But I'm grateful to be here today. And what I want to talk to you today is the power of I am. And really the power of what we tell ourselves, the power of what we say and how we believe it, and what that does for us and for our lives. And the reality is that we tend to think a lot of negative things. And I'll give you just, and as a result of thinking negatively about ourselves, we bring to fruition those truths. And so, and even on a simple example, my wife and I went and played pickleball this morning, and I did not want to go. And I went because I needed the exercise. I didn't really want to be there, and I played like I didn't want to be there. And pretty quick into the first and second game, where I wasn't playing very good and my wife wasn't playing very good, we kind of just started saying, I can't hit that in. I can't hit these good shots. I can't hit shots like normal. And then we played worse and worse and worse and worse. Instead of stepping into a positive mentality and a positive mindset and saying, hey, I am good enough to do this. I am good enough to meet this challenge. And so it's just a simple example of the things that we say matter. And when we say them about ourselves, the reality is we listen. And then we start acting, and we start believing, and we start acting in a way that is that way. And so I hope the very first thing you recognize is the things that you say to yourself matter, and they matter in a big way. And we can't always believe the things that we're saying, because again, we go into this negativity bias and we start telling ourselves things that just aren't true. We start telling ourselves lies, and then we start believing those lies, and we start spiraling down. With my dog's over here, just if you hear something in the background, it's my dog just like scratching around. But we start telling ourselves these lies and saying things that just aren't true. And you can't believe everything you say, and you can't believe everything you think, because sometimes we put into our minds and into our thoughts things that aren't true. And maybe what happens more often than not is we start listening to the opinions of other people. And when we listen to the opinions of other people and start believing those opinions, it's just not true, because other people, they have a vested value, a vested interest in their own life. They don't have a vested interest in your life. Very few people do, except for you. You are the one that gets to be with yourself all the time. You are the one that gets to live with yourself. You are the one that gets to walk into the future and walk into the sunset with yourself. And most people aren't going to go there with you. I heard something one time that said the number one determinant of if somebody is going to go to your funeral is if it's raining or not. And so, most of the people with opinions about you, most of them aren't even going to show up on your funeral. And maybe that's a little morbid, but that's the reality is they aren't going to show up. They're not going to be there. So why are we putting so much stock in what other people think when they're not even going to be there for the long run to see how we turn out? But yet we're listening to what they think, and we're internalizing those things, and then we start saying, I am whatever they're saying about us. But I want you to realize the power of I am goes both ways. And you can say it negatively, or you can start saying it positively. And one of the biggest ways to do that is positive affirmations. And I don't know if you have ever done positive affirmations, but I would recommend doing them. And a positive affirmation is saying something about yourself positively, and then you start affirming that belief. And so it could be as simple as saying, I am enough. It could be as simple, if you tend to procrastinate a lot, right? You could say, I am a procrastinator, which is a negative concept, or you can start flipping the script on that and saying, I get things done when I'm supposed to. I am not a procrastinator. My wife has a pop-up on her phone every single day, and this is one of the recommendations here, is that you set notifications on your phone that pop up at certain times from the day to remind you of these positive affirmations. So every once in a while she gets a ping on her phone and she checks it and it says, I live in abundance. And it's just this abundant mindset that she wants to embrace and she wants to walk into. And so she does that by setting reminders to remind herself that she is living in abundance. One of the things that I always do, and another recommendation is I have a list of 5 to 10 affirmations, and these rotate and these change. But when I get in the car, oftentimes I will speak these affirmations into my voice recorder on my phone, save them in my notes, and so or in my voice messages, and then I will listen to those affirmations. And so I'm sitting in the car and I'm listening to it saying, I am smart enough. I am good enough to get to. One of the big ones for me is time management, is I am great at managing my time and will get everything done that I'm supposed to. And it's just this mindset shift to make sure I am managing my time in the right way. But it's something that's big for me because I have a tendency to not do that. And I want to be better at that. An affirmation could be saying something like, I'm strong enough to handle what's happening to me right now, or this situation is difficult, but I have the skills and ability to deal with it. And so you start speaking these things, and you start putting them into the world and into the universe so that you can begin to embrace them and start to believe them about yourself. And as you continually do this day by day, you're going to learn that these positive affirmations aren't just something that are, not real or something that you're just saying to say, but you are going to start really becoming that thing. You are going to start procrastinating less. You are going to live life in abundance, or believe and start doing that, living that life in abundance. Because here's what's happening. When you have positive affirmations, what happens is that you are literally reprogramming your mind around that belief. And so what happens is when you say it out loud and you continually say it, then your subconscious mind goes to work. You start living this truth when you're not even thinking about it. Subconsciously, you start thinking, you start doing it, you start remembering it, and then you're procrastinating less, and then you're believing in yourself more, and you're doing these little things that turn you into what you truly are. And it's the power of I am. Another thing that happens is that when we do positive affirmations, it's really it really scientifically it involves neuroplasticity. And so what's happening is you are forming new neural connections in your brain, and reorganizing your thoughts and your brain around this concept of what you are or what you are becoming. And so the science of it is incredible, and your brain has this incredible power to start changing who you are by speaking it into existence. And so I want you to take a minute and get a piece of paper, get a pen. If you're in the car or wherever, I want you to pause this recording. You can come back in a minute or two. But I want you to pause this recording, and I want you to go to the notes in your phone. And you can do it on a speak to text, so you're not texting. I don't want you texting and driving, but you can do speak to text. And I want you in your phone to start to list 5 positive affirmations that you're going to start repeating to yourself every single day. And it could be, I am enough. I am strong enough to handle all the things I'm going through. I am brave enough to step out of my comfort zone. I am good enough at, I don't know, there's so many of them. And but what you do is you start to put these things into existence. So take some time, go to your notes page. If you're at home, pause this, grab a piece of paper, grab a pencil or pen, and start writing these down. I want you to write down 5 of them. After you've written down 5 of them, you can come back. And so once you've done that, the next thing that I want you to do is I want you to repeat these to yourself every single day. So Ian, one of my tips is I record myself saying them in my notes or in my voice recording, and then once I've done that, I listen to it every day and I repeat it every single day. I recite it with myself as I'm hearing it. And so again, we are putting these things into our mind so that our brain can actually change and start to live these manifestations that we're saying. The other thing that I want you to do, I want you to take some time. I want you to write reminders in your phone that will pop up throughout the day that are going to remind you of the affirmations that you are putting into your mind, so that you can be reminded constantly every single day of what you're trying to be and who you're trying to become, because there is power. I've said this earlier, there is power in the words I am. There's power in the words I am. And if you use I am in a negative way with negative connotations, it will limit your potential and limit who you can become. But the moment that you change that and you start saying I am good enough, strong enough, brave enough, beautiful enough, smart enough, you start putting in these positive affirmations and positive connotations around I am, then you will truly, truly, truly become those things. And you'll start believing those things about yourself. And there's beauty in that. There's beauty in that. And I promise when you do this, it's going to change the way you think about yourself. It's going to change your every day. It's going to recalibrate your mind, reprogram your mind in a way that will help you kind of live a self-fulfilling prophecy, help you become the person that you want to become. And so take a minute and do that. One of the other tips that I would recommend is think about the future. Look 5 years into the future. Who are you 5 years from now? And then what do you have to start doing today to become that person? And then change those into a positive affirmation so that you can step into that potential, step into that person. So that's what I had for you today. I know this is a little bit shorter of an episode, but it was on my mind, probably because I played pickleball today and I played really bad. And on the way home, I was like, you know what? You got to get in a better mindset if you're going to do this again. Just show up for yourself. And part of showing up for yourself is having a positive mindset, using the words I am in a positive way, and then stepping into the potential of the person that you just decided you're going to become. So, as always, thank you for listening. I can't wait to connect with you next week. If this helped you, hit me up on Instagram, either in my direct messages, or share this to your stories and tag me at Real Tanner Clark. And as always, go find your 1 second of strength and be happy. Thank you for listening to today's episode. I hope it helped you. If you haven't already, hit subscribe so you never miss another episode, and leave a review for the show. And as always, go find your 1 second of strength and be happy.